Hello and welcome back to the Can I Get a Refill podcast. Today we're talking tea cycling for hormonal balance plus wellness trends with naturopath Melanie Hartskeerl. Melanie, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks so much for having me.
I'm excited. We were just having a little chat off air. You're in Melbourne, I'm in Sydney, so we're having the typical weather chat of all the winds and allergies and the 31 degrees and storms. It's just been crazy
Yeah,
lately. And if anyone's listened back to the last few podcasts, I'm very nasal, so I apologize for that.
you
And
poor
it's
thing.
cold where you are today?
No, it's actually quite nice today. The sun's out. It's 19.
Good.
Very
Yeah.
typical Melbourne spring weather at the moment.
Right? It's all Melburnians talk about the weather. It's just the hot topic.
100%. It's our primary
Um,
focus in life.
yeah. I'm excited for today's chat. We were just discussing on air how much I always love going to naturopaths over GPs. No hate to GPs, they've got their place, but anytime I've had medical issues, it's really good to get a more holistic approach. And I can see all your lovely teas in the background. So why don't we start by you just telling us a little bit about the work you do and how you got into that field?
Yeah, sure. It's an interesting, I guess, journey, as is anyone's sort of, life story. But I started out always being healthy. So I was always into exercise, nutrition, looking after my kids and, wanting to get the most out of health and well-being. I went through a bit of a change in circumstances. My marriage broke down, so I decided at that point, what did I want to do? I felt like it was a really good opportunity to actually establish what do I want now that I'm in a position of choice to a degree, to do with my life. And my children were at primary school, so I really wanted to be able to still have that flexibility to be able to go and watch them at sports days or go and do reading at school, those sort of things. So I thought, I wanted to make my passions my job. And, long story short, coming to where I am at the moment, that's exactly what I've done. My work isn't a job. It's my passion, and I love helping people and supporting people and informing people and, educating people on everything. So I started doing my Cert 4 in fitness. I've done my Pilates qualification as well, and I started in the physical side of things. And then just thought, I don't really want to do that all the time. What else can I add to I guess, my
Your
experiences? So
repertoire.
I went and studied nutritional medicine, naturopathy, and Western herbal medicine, which really gave me that holistic picture of total well-being. And so from there, I built a small business, started working. We went through COVID in Melbourne, and that was a
Oh,
really challenging
yours was
time,
the worst.
especially as
Yeah.
a clinician, because we couldn't see people face to face. And it's very much a face to face preference of mine. I'd rather see my patients in person. Happy to do Zooms, if need be, but ideally it's that engagement. I think that's super important when you are treating a patient as well. And then I came into the space at Wild Soul Wellness as they were building that or starting up that business, and had a really great opportunity as a practitioner to open a practice there, work with them on all their retail products. So I've developed all their teas, their powders. There's still evolution of products as well. We're doing body scrubs and body oils and so on, teaching Pilates there as well. So I found, I guess, my little spot, and, are blessed to have the ability and the autonomy to be able to do what I do, and support such a huge community that is ever building throughout all the Wild Soul studios we're opening.
That is so the aim in life, isn't it? To do something that you're so passionate about and to be able to sort of, like center it around your schedule with your kids and have that flexibility.
I've never been someone to sort of worry and question, is this a good idea? I've just kind of gone with my gut and what I believe in, because really my attitude is that you get out what you put in. So I never had the
Absolutely.
fear of failure or what if this doesn't work out. I kind of just did it.
Good for you.
And it's all turned out really well. And
Good
I
for you.
try
And
not
a
to.
marriage breakdown is a good opportunity for a reset. Some people can sort of go one way or the other. You can sort of,
Definitely. And it
yeah,
wasn't, I look back now and go, how did I study full time and have two primary school age children and still work, and,
yeah.
fantastic parents I had, and supportive friends, and, their dad was really supportive as well. So,
Takes a
yeah,
village.
it
Mm,
does. That's exactly right. And I look
yeah.
back now and think, how I don't even know how I did that. But again, it
No.
was my passion. And I think being a mature age student really helped, because I really dorked out on all the stuff and doing well with my assignments and all that sort of stuff. I really loved and enjoyed the study that I was doing.
Oh, that's so fantastic. And the name of the business where you work out of, sorry?
So Wild Soul Wellness.
Yes,
Yeah.
great.
So we're
Excellent.
actually just opening a few different locations, but I'm based as a practitioner in Morty Alley.
Wonderful. Well, we'll link them in the show notes as well. Can you tell us, this was a brand new thing. I've actually never heard of this. What is tea cycling and why do you think it will be trending in 2026?
It's an interesting concept because herbal teas are amazing, and I think not a lot of people utilize them for their therapeutic benefits. And I think all that sort of stuff has originally evolved from a purpose. One, taste things tasting nice, but two, also getting benefit out of plants, herbal medicine ultimately.
Yeah.
So herbal teas, depending on I guess when we're talking about hormones, there's two different ways you can look at it. We can look at how you want to, say, treat the symptoms around someone's menstrual cycle or the actual mechanism of action. So when we're going through a reproductive cycle and there's different phases, we are producing more estrogen at one point, then we're producing more progesterone at one point. So the transition between the hormones is really driven by our liver and our phase two, or the liver's ability to process things. So if someone's having severe periods, for example, we could look at how do we support that transition through the hormones. And that could be things by using, say, a detoxifying sort of tea to help with that phase two liver detoxification pathway. The other reference in that sort of stuff of mechanism of action is, when we're looking at menopausal and perimenopausal women, for example, hot flushes, night sweats, there's a lot of symptoms that traditional Chinese herbs will help support that, wild yam. And so you can have those things, and I've got a tea for that helps support those. And that's when your hormones are going up and down and up and down, and there's no sort of standardized sort of process around it or cycle around it. So those herbs can help support those. Then we can look at the other side, and it's things like, what are your symptoms around your period? Do you get abdominal pain? Do you get bloating? Do you feel emotional? Do you get a headache? Do you have lack of energy? So there's different herbs and different teas that you could target for that. So if you get abdominal pain and bloating, ginger is a really good herb to help calm the stomach. Chamomile's a nice one as well. So being able to understand or recognize where you are in your cycle, but also what are your symptoms and what are the herbs or the herbal teas that you may have on hand that can help support throughout that cycle.
Right. That's very interesting. I just feel like every time they always come back to plant, like the most, it's all in nature, isn't it? And I feel like,
My biggest thing is eat, and even with food, eat the way nature intended.
yes, yeah,
It's
like
really
seasonally
interesting that
and yeah.
ginger is ginger and garlic. Garlic is a
Oh,
great
they're
herb,
both the best. Yeah.
anti-parasitic, immune enhancing, all these sort of things. So I'm a very basic fundamental of the way that we were built and developed. So the universe, as I reference it, provided us with plants. We're a really primal being. We're a primitive body being in a very, very modern world. And so going back to, what has nature given us on hand? Food as medicine should be the basis for everyone's health and well-being goals. And the great thing about herbal teas is you can use them with children. So they're a mild dose. So
Right.
it's not,
Okay. Because a
it's,
lot of herbal things you can't. I know with herbal supplements you can't. And
yeah,
I know that even when I was pregnant, herbal supplements were more of a no-no than synthetic drugs because you don't know the exact amount of things in
yeah. And
there.
so when it comes to children, there's obviously children's things, and anything that you buy over the counter really is what good marketing. The
Yeah.
therapeutic
Oh,
quality and the
always.
dose isn't there.
Yeah, yeah.
Teas are great because you can also do cold brews. So we'll often do
Okay.
that in summer. You
Right.
just pop it in the fridge and have it. And the good thing about some of the teas that I've done are really woody. So they have things like cinnamon and withania, which are roots. So you can actually just constantly sort of top it up over the course of a day and keep it in the fridge, and you'll still be drawing all the good stuff out of it. When you're referring to
Fantastic.
things like herbal medicine, so that's herbal tinctures and so on, you dose those stuff dependent on the age of the person, and you can do that stuff with children, but it's a smaller dose, and often it's in a bath or something like that. So, but that's where
Okay.
herbal teas, anyone can have them.
Wow, you really know your stuff. That's fantastic. How do we, you would hope,
That's
how
the
do we
job. Yeah.
exactly T cycle for hormone balance? Can you talk on that a little more in depth?
So hormonal balance. So it would definitely be the liver is a really big driver of our hormones, or anything that it's. You got to look at the liver like the filtration system of your body. So anything that goes through into our bloodstream goes through our liver, and our liver has to process that. So when we're looking at our hormones, they're released into our bloodstream as well, and they go throughout the system too. So it all again has to go through the liver. So the first port of call would be what is your liver doing? Is your liver working efficiently? And that's where we can support it through drinking lots of water, cleaning out that filtration system. Herbal teas to hit that digestive system as well. So they're called bitter herbs. So I've got a tea called Cleanse, which does exactly that. It works on the bitter receptors, stimulates digestion, and gets that liver, that bile production, and everything sort of flowing and flowing.
Right. Is that very common, having like a clogged liver? Is that something that a lot of people have?
Yes, it
Okay.
is. And I talked to my 20-year-old daughter who fake tans and perfumes and all these things, which are endocrine disrupting.
Endocrine disruptors. Yeah. Our whole
So so
medicine
they hit.
cabinets, right?
Yeah, they impact the hormonal system, and again the liver, because the liver has to absorb anything that goes on our skin gets absorbed into our bloodstream as well.
Right. I
So
didn't think that was liver. I thought that was more, what's the thing I'm looking for? And your adrenals
yeah, adrenals are a little gland that
gone.
sit above your kidney, but yeah, and so adrenals are more so linked to
Kidneys.
your
I thought it was
nervous
more
system.
kidneys that would be
Well,
impacted by.
kidneys are your other filtration system.
Okay.
So the kidneys
Okay.
will filter everything, and that's how you discard waste. Yeah. So drinking
Right.
plenty of
So
water.
I was thinking, yeah, liver was just you're not having enough water or you're drinking alcohol. So all of these environmental factors, and because I stopped perfume years ago, I just have ylang oil or something when I go
Essential
out.
oils are great.
Yeah, they're fantastic. And they smell so good. Every time I
So
hug
good.
my brother, he goes, "Oh, that smells good." But he goes to church, so he probably really likes the smell of the oils. Like I went through, because I went to a naturopath years ago. I was having a lot of adrenal fatigue, and I got rid of any sort of, aside from the beauty products, which I still do a bit, but hand soap, the dishwasher, the body, everything's like organic, like no nasties in it. Because you have people even realize how many chemicals we're
It's ridiculous.
consuming, like through the skin on a daily basis, and
Yeah.
women more than men, right?
Oh, definitely, definitely. And it's really interesting. And I keep having this conversation with my daughter, and she actually said to me the other day, she was like, "Oh, Mum, I'm taking on board." They don't take on board, teenage
But
children or
she's
young adults.
20. It's,
Oh, yeah. And I
your
completely get it.
priorities are different. You're caring more how you look and what others think. And then, I found that once I got married, I didn't care as much.
Yeah, completely. But also, she's younger, and so what you'll see in a clinical space is younger people rebound and respond a lot quicker because they aren't so tainted. They haven't been exposed for such a long period of time, so they generally
Right.
will respond quite well to that sort of treatment. And so when you are looking at getting the body working efficiently, it's really good things to keep the liver running clean. So that's where the tea is really good. Your greens, so broccoli, cruciferous vegetables, all these things to help stimulate digestion, but also support the liver as well. Vitamin C is
Okay.
a really good one to help support liver too. So there's lots of different things. So when we're looking at the teas, for example, things that have got lemon balm, which is a really good antiviral, even citrus, so orange, lime, they're going to help support the liver as well. But then when we look at the other sort of sides of the reproductive cycle, and there's a lot of information out there now, and I think it's really important for women to be educated on this sort of stuff because up until a certain point of time, most studies were done on men, so really not relevant to
Only up until a
women.
few years ago.
I know it's
Yeah.
it's really
Insane.
interesting. So when
Yeah.
we're talking about things like training around your cycle, when you come out of a period, that's your time for building and gaining muscle and challenging yourself. And then it's the back end leading into your period when we generally are going to feel flatter, not as energized, and all that sort of stuff as well. So you, understanding that and then how you can support your body in that sense as well. So, leading out of a period, energizing sort of teas like green tea, that's really good. Actually really good for everything, but it's really good
Mm.
for mental alertness. It's going to help support that drive and that build as well. And then in the second half of your cycle, it's really about supporting the body to go through that phase because ultimately we are built to reproduce. That's why that's why we get a period. It sounds very, cut and dry, but
Normal. Yeah.
we're animals. We are, and so we are
On a
built.
biological level, yeah.
That's exactly right. Um, and so, it's understanding that. So coming down in leading into a period, knowing that it's okay that you're probably going to feel a little flatter than you were on the other side of the cycle, but also supporting the body. So being more kind to yourself. Nice herbal teas, like a calming one with chamomile and hops and all these nice sort of things to help support that. And then the
Yeah.
symptoms that you get throughout the cycle can be anything from low energy again, mental fatigue, poor sleep. So again, herbs that have got these nice calming herbs in them to help support sleep. So it's really being aware of where you are in your cycle, and then
Yeah.
what's going on within that cycle as well. So I really try to educate my females, especially young females, on really understanding what's going on in their body so they can actually be proactive about supporting it through the different phases.
I think that's so wonderful. And I feel like over a year ago, I didn't hear about this whole cyclical living and timing your cycles. And I feel like I wish people mentioned that more when we were younger because it takes some of the shame away from it. So I feel like periods weren't discussed. It was a bit of a hush hush taboo topic, which is ridiculous because no one would be here if it weren't for periods.
That's exactly
But
right.
I really love now that I do that. And I think it's showing a gentle compassion to yourself when you're in the luteal or when you do have your period. I used to just push and push and push and get frustrated with myself. Oh, why am I low energy? Because you're not a man with a 24-hour cycle. So now I really, really look and wind it back and will do gentler sort of more Pilates or yoga when I'm at that time of my period. And just after when I'm ovulating is when I feel great and do like really good running and heavy weight. So
And
I
that's when
find that it's
that's when you're at peak estrogen. So that's when
yeah.
you're feeling great and all that sort of stuff. And then
Yeah.
everything just, for some women, it's like the bottom falls out of it all and you go into that
Mm,
luteal phase. And that's when you
mm,
get, all the things that you were feeling, you're now no longer feeling and you're thinking, what the hell's going on? Last week I felt so
yeah.
good and this week I
It's just
didn't.
so frustrating how like how quickly it comes again. It's
Yeah.
like I really only get 3 or 4 good days a month, honestly. So I'm
Well, but
always trying to plan
and one of
social
the interesting
events.
things I think in clinic too is that so many young women in particular resign themselves to the fact that, oh, this is just the way it is. And I'm like, no, it's not normal to have a debilitatingly painful period that knocks you out for a few days.
No.
That's not normal. And, we have the different levels of PMS, that relate to appetite or mood and so on. And that's fine. But what they need to understand is that there's so many things that you can do to help support that.
Right.
We want a healthy reproductive cycle and we want it to be regular, but we don't want it to be these highs and lows. And the first
Right.
thing I look at is that the liver and what's going on with that in order to be able to just regulate everything to a bit more of an even sort of keel.
So your clients have found through T cycling have alleviated like severe PMS symptoms, for example.
Definitely supports. Again,
Right.
they're teas. So like I said, they're quite a mild passive treatment, but definitely an addition to potentially other things as well that we might be doing in the space. Um,
Great. It's a real comfort thing. I mean, cozying in with a nice cup of tea at night, isn't it? I love that. Nice
or in
cup
the
of tea
morning.
and yeah, there we go. I'm a night with 2 pieces of dark chocolate. That's my little
Yeah,
sit down
nice.
and
Good antioxidants. Yeah. And yeah, I'm a
yeah.
bit of a habitual thing. I always have my herbal tea at the end of the day. My son loves a herbal tea as well. So it's kind of a nice thing to, that rest and digest at the end of a busy day.
Yeah, I love that. Really
Mm.
good. Do you have any, you might not, but any teas that you would recommend for someone postpartum, for instance? Because I know when you're postpartum, the whole diet changes for a few weeks and you have like warm, sort of nourishing like congees and porridge and things. Is there anything you'd recommend?
I would say, and if I'm referencing, well, probably the one I'm drinking this morning, which is Vitality. So
Yep.
I think the name says it all. That's sort of
Yeah.
our our warm hug. It's an immune enhancing herbal tea, but it's got all these nice herbs in it to help support the immune system. So help support that, I guess, that building and that the vitality. So the vitality,
Getting your
our
strength
vitality
back.
is our inner strength sort of thing. So that would be a nice one.
Yeah.
Again, depending on how someone's feeling or what their symptoms are as well. If you're feeling a bit flat, again, an energizing sort of tea with your green tea or your ginkgo, those sort of herbs as well.
I love ginkgo. I'm a real ginseng girl. I used to get this ginseng tea, and they stopped making it. And I wish I bought cases of it because I love it.
Yeah,
I can't have any caffeine whatsoever, and it would just make me feel really energized. But yeah, anything with the word vitality in it, I'll
yeah,
order 10.
yeah. Love.
I love it. Great. Can you please talk us through what contrast therapy is and your top 5 reasons you swear by it?
Yeah, so contrast therapy is I love it. We
Mm.
do have it at Wild Soul Wellness. It is contrasting therapy. So basically it's hot and cold immersion, which is kind of a bit of a it thing, or it's definitely coming into, I guess, more public knowledge or public awareness. There's so many different places out there where you can do it. The beach is probably a really great place, and you'll often see from an AFL state, Sunday morning, the footy players all doing their recovery down at, St Kilda Beach, for example, in winter, shivering with their legs in the water. So there's so many benefits around contrast therapy. The fundamentals of it is to support well-being. It works in the 2 different mechanisms of hot and cold. So it works on what we call vasodilation and vasorestriction. So it's the cells expanding and contracting to support the body in extreme colds or extreme heats, to cool down or to heat up. And so that's the fundamentals of what it is. The way we have it at Wild Soul, we practice, so you start off with a sauna for maybe, and that's a Swedish sauna, so a traditional sauna, 5 minutes in there, you have a rinse off, then you hop into the cold plunge. Now the cold plunge is about 5 degrees, depending on roughly 5 to sort of 8 degrees, which is really quite fresh. And again, everyone that hops in it impacts you differently. And so it could be, some people could be fine with it. Some people could be really challenged to actually hop in it. And that's generally going
It
to be a
takes
nervous
my
system.
breath away. This morning I
Yeah,
had
that's
a
exactly
good
right.
sweaty workout. I blow dried my hair and planned to have it out today, but again, I had a real sweaty workout. It's very hot here today. But I ended with a cold shower, and I went, oh, like
It can
like
take your
it
breath
takes
away.
your breath away. But man, I did my makeup in 20 minutes, and normally takes me 45 because I was so like, I don't know, just energized after it.
Well,
It
this is
really does
this
feel
is one of the
good.
benefits about the cold. So if we
Mm,
finish or we do contrast therapy and you finish on the cold, it
yeah.
is that whole it's the perfect thing to do. And when we have people coming in, we say, how do you want to feel when you finish?
Okay.
At the start of the day, you want to start your day feeling great. So you would finish that recovery session on the cold because it's got
Yes.
everything up and about. Everything's at high alert.
Oh, so at night you might finish on the
on
hot.
the, on the hot, which is nice and
Oh, that
relaxing.
Okay, that makes sense. I've never asked this, but I'm like, I mainly shower at night. It's not always a shower in the morning, and I'm always like, well, I don't want to feel cold just before bed. I don't want to be like
No, you
woken up.
don't.
So that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay,
So,
so
and
finish with
this
the
this is
sauna.
and this is where the teas come into play as well. So you can cycle teas around that sort of concept as well. How do you want to
Okay,
feel when you get up in the morning? Energized. Well, I'm going to have a tea that's going to give me that. What do I want to do at the end of the day? Relax and calm and sleep well. You have a tea for that as well. That purpose. So the cold is really good to finish on if you want to, start the day well or just be energized. And then from there you go into a warm pool, and it's probably around 28 degrees. So initially, as soon as you hop in, your whole body sort of tingles because again, it's this change in the cells and the body's going cold to hot. And so it challenges your body in many different ways. Obviously, it's the cellular response, but it's also the nervous system response. So it's going to hit your sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. So your fight or flight. So
yeah.
often when we get into the cold plunge, we will have people that have never done it before. So we'll stand there and we'll talk them through it. All right, come down, take a deep breath in. It's really working on that vagal nerve as well, that communication from the brain to the major organs, which is going to influence your respiration, your heart rate. You want to take some nice controlled breaths, come down into it. And again, when you're doing that, you progress through different levels. You might just start kneeling and you might do it for 30 seconds. you go into the hot, then you rotate around. And you might do it, say, 4 or 5 times within a 40-minute sort of session. The aim of that, whether it's in one session or within a period of time, you want to be able to get down and sit down and then maintain that level of conscious breathing and the ability to be able to stay in there, and then from there you progress, and I normally sit with my hands like that under my knees. And then as you progress and you go, yep, okay, you bring your arms out, and the more water around you, the more challenging that's going to be as well.
Yes. Yeah.
And then in the hot, you just hop in there and you're just like, oh my God, this is just so nice. And then you get this big flush of relaxation. Then you go on and do it again. So it's really, it works on a cellular level to help support, so recovery, because again, circulation, vasorestriction, dilation, so it gets the blood flow moving as well. So when we're cold, everything's going to go towards our vital organs, blood supply wise, to keep that nice and safe. And then as we get warmer, everything's going to go out to help us cool down. So it spreads the blood flow out to get more air or more coolness around into the blood to help cool things down. So that it's like a little internal exercise in your bloodstream and on your system. And with that comes things like working on cellular regeneration, inflammation and so on. And then the flip side of all that stuff is that nervous system. So being able to adapt and manage those stresses. And like I said, some people can't get in there. And it comes back down to, it can be multiple things like, potential trauma. There's underlying things in your nervous system, and they might appear fine, but as soon as their nervous system is challenged, it all goes out the window. So again, it's a really good thing. It's consistency. Consistency is the key with anything, but it's that practice to be able to control. And this is where breath work is an amazing addition to this, but also a practice that people can do outside. So there's so many different levels of benefit from it, but ultimately the outcome is how you feel after it. And so again, relaxation, energized, cellular regeneration, joint repair, muscle mobility, relaxation through the heat, all those sort of things. So it's really good. And it's also part of, which I think we'll talk a bit towards the end, one of your questions, it's about like nature care. Nature care is, I'm hoping is going to be something that's big next year, which is just about the elements. And so this is a perfect example of those elements, of two of the many elements.
Okay. Yeah, everything's definitely going back to nature. I have a biohacking episode out at the moment. We were chatting about that. It's all leading back to nature. With all the technology, it's all leading back to nature.
And I feel like that's just a natural progression of everything.
It is.
We will get sick of this and just come back to the way nature intended.
Yes. Yeah. But I really love the idea of this contrast therapy, and it reminds me of this particular yoga practice I do. I just do yoga online on YouTube, Boho Beautiful, but she does ones. I think this is the one for immunity where there's a lot of twisting poses, and she's saying you're sort of suffocating a certain organ and then releasing it.
Yeah.
And that sort of reminds me of the contrast therapy. It's like it brings the focus back to it rather than just having prolonged periods of stress. It's the change and change. I really like that. I find that I feel great.
Yeah, I love a little movement in that because it does it. It's sort of it's that internal movement and exercise in yoga that just moves the organs because we're so sedentary.
That's what I mean with these jobs of sitting. We're sitting all day, but we've also got just prolonged stress. That's why everyone's in that fight or flight. So
and
I feel like
stress is different, and it's really interesting because stress can be not sleeping well. That's probably one of the biggest stresses. Like I think most people associate stress with a physical or a thing. Like it's financial stress or it's work stress. If your sleep isn't good, that is the cornerstone of health, and that will put a massive stress on your body. You're getting up on the back foot every day, and then you're just going forwards but backwards.
Absolutely.
So everyone's stress is different as well. So
but that's why sleep hygiene is so important. And I've referenced this all year. I cannot believe how much I used to disrespect sleep, and I just didn't even. An older friend said to me, "It'll change your life." And now I'll get like 6.5 to 7 hours is what I get, and that's huge for me. I used to get 4 to 5 hours sleep, and it has changed my emotional state, my stress response, the way I react. I was reactive to everything. So it's just unbelievable how much of an impact it has.
It's a massive, and that any patient I have, that's the cornerstone of health. And the easy way to discover or find out if someone has good quality sleep is how they feel when they wake up.
And do you know what I want to bring it back to? My favorite thing you've said in this episode is you say to your clients, how do you want to feel? I just feel like that is the best question. I feel like therapists could ask that, medical practitioners could ask it. When you go for a job, how do you want to feel in this job? I feel like checking in with the self and your feelings, how do you want to feel, is so vital to a happy, healthy life. So I love that you ask that question.
When you feel good, whatever it is, then you're
Mm.
going to do well. Like, it's basic
Yes,
maths, isn't
yes,
it?
yes, it
Yeah.
is. It's everything's simple, isn't it? We just got
So
to tap
simple.
back
And
into
this
the
is the
self.
thing, I'm a very, not basic, but my fundamentals are very basic like that. Sleep is the best thing. Because so many people go, oh, I sleep really well. Well, how do you feel when you wake up tired?
Still tired.
That is telling me that whatever you are doing when your eyes are shut
Yeah,
isn't what you need to be doing.
yeah. They're probably looking at phones before bed, and then they're just not
Yeah. Oh,
properly
yeah, that's
sleeping.
exactly right. And again, liver is a big player in waking up, because when you look at the traditional Chinese medicine, their calendar, there's certain times of the night, if you wake up, it's what your liver's doing overtime. It's doing the daytime jobs at night. So there's all these other components around sleep as well, or impacted by sleep. And ultimately, you I say to people, for example, if you've got a newborn, we can't stop that from waking that. What we want to do is support your body so when you do go to sleep, you get quality sleep.
Quality. Yeah,
And
it's
so that's
definitely
where this
the
contrast
quality sleep
therapy.
as well as the amount, isn't it? Can I ask, Melanie, what are the benefits and differences of red light therapy and PEMF?
Okay, so red light therapy is red light. So it's a light. And you will see that in beauticians will have it, beauty therapists for skin. We have them at so we've got these pods. It's like an old school solarium, but it's got no UV A or B in it. It's just full red light. And so it works on a topical sense. So it shoots these red lights, and not quite your infrared, so the hot ones, but into the skin and onto the skin to help support cellular regeneration, collagen production. There's science and data coming out about the benefits of that on gut health, because there's a big link between the gut brain barrier, and inflammation in your gut will lead to inflammation in your brain, and then that has a
Yeah.
flow on effect to people's mental well-being as well. So it helps support the immune system in the gut as well. And it works on enhancing and just making the cells a lot happier. And it's really relaxing just to lie under it. And even for in winter, it's a really nice thing for people that might have, it's called SAD, seasonal affective disorder. So the winter blues, which is a diagnosed condition, to lie under this red light and just, yeah, it's really nice and it's really
Oh,
relaxing.
almost like it's mimicking the sun
Yeah, but without the old
without the
school.
UV.
Yeah, without
But
the old school.
what I don't understand, I actually haven't asked this before. I might sound like a stupid question. I don't understand, why is red light therapy different to infrared? Like, am I not getting the same benefits in an infrared sauna?
No, we'll see. Red light therapy uses wavelengths of red, not quite infrared. So infrared is heat, where
Okay.
this is just small red light.
But different benefits?
Different benefits, and there's similarities, but
Some
also
crossover.
so infrared, for example, red light therapy, for example, you won't get hot. You only do it for maybe 20 minutes. And it supports skin health and healing and anti-aging, muscle recovery as well, joint pain, stiffness, and cellular circulation and cellular energy. And also, like I said, it can help support mood. When you're looking at infrared, for example, that's where it heats you from the inside out. So infrared sauna, where I work at Wild Soul, we have classes. So our hot mat classes, yogas and so on, it has the infrared heaters. So again,
Great.
it's warm, but you get warmer from the inside, so it pushes the heat, everything out. So infrared saunas is more beneficial for things like detoxification. So again, liver support. One of our best detox systems is sweating.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
clearing all that stuff out. You'll need to sit in a sauna, an infrared sauna, for a lot longer than you would a traditional sauna, purely because it heats you from in out. So therefore, it
What do
takes a
you
while.
recommend? An hour, 45
No, I'd
minutes?
say if you're starting out, you'd say probably do half an hour. It really comes back down to how comfortable you are in that space as well. You're going to need to drink plenty of water, because once you start, it's kind of like you spring a leak. all of a sudden you've just got sweat coming out of you. And so it just depends on the individual. If you're in there with a friend, it might be easier because you can be a bit distracted, or if you're listening to a podcast or whatever.
I take a good book in there. I do 45 minutes, a good book, and a giant bottle with electrolytes.
Yeah, definitely. So that's it. You've got to put in what you lose as well. So that's
Yeah,
where the red light pod is different in the sense that it works more on a topical cellular sort of level, so skin level, where the infrared sauna works from the inside out, and it sort of is a better way to release toxins.
great. And what's PEMF?
The PEMF it's microcurrents. So it's an electromagnetic mat. So you would lay on this, and it's got different frequencies. So you can choose a certain goal for that session. So it could be something like hormonal balances. It could be anxiety, mood, inflammation, for example. So you change the frequencies on the dial, then you lay on the mat. Now we have it set up so you lay on the mat under a red light. So you're sort of hitting it in two different ways. So you're working from the inside. So it sends these little microcurrents through your system, and it really gives the cells a little workout and shakes them up a little bit. So that passes through the body while you're then lying under the red light, getting all the benefits of the red light as well.
Oh, I love it. It sounds good. And how regularly do you do these?
Well, I'm 100.
Yeah.
No,
Well, then
look,
go ahead.
I probably do. I would at least try to do both of those, so contrast therapy and red light, once a week.
Great. I was just going to say it's good too because you work there, like you've got access, but I honestly feel like there's no time to have a job because you could just be doing these these practices all day.
Yeah. And look, the thing I find, and look, we've got, compression boots and all these different things as well, but I think it's super important, and it comes back down to prioritizing yourself over things, is that the red light pod, for example, you go into that room, you lock it, and you're in there for 20 minutes. And you just lie there and you just time out.
Yeah. And before I had kids, I always just invested time and money into myself. And it's been really hard to adjust to having less time and money to do that for yourself.
Yeah.
But that is definitely the number one thing where my husband and I sit and, okay, where in our diary can we blank out time for ourselves? It's the only thing that saves you, really. You have
Exactly right, because
you have to fill up your cup.
That's exactly right. And as a parent, you're going to put everyone else, or as a mother, you're going to put everyone else before you. So it's super important to be able to take back some time for yourself.
Well, I just recorded a solo episode, and that's what I said, I matter just as much as my son. I honestly, because if I don't take care of myself, I'll be useless and no one will get taken care of. So
That's exactly
I absolutely put as
Yeah.
much effort into taking care of myself as I do my son. Not selfish. That, like there was a real martyrdom years ago where women were, a good woman was sacrificial, and would put others first. But that's out the window in 2025. Like we're all about filling up our cup
Because if
first.
you don't run well, nothing's going to run well. Because we all know that,
It's
the
that
household
simple.
depends on you. So
Yeah, it's simple math. Absolutely. What do you think will be the top wellness trends that we'll see in 2026?
nature care, like I referenced before, and healthgevity. So I am massive on this at the moment, and I went to a seminar up in Brisbane a few months back, and it was all about healthgevity because, and more relevant to a 52-year-old as opposed to, say, a 20-year-old. But I think majority of people that I see are probably older than 20-year-olds don't want to spend, money on seeing a naturopath. We've mastered the art of longevity, so we know how to live longer. It's how we live healthy for longer. So I'm seeing a lot more people talking about, and again, self-care. So nature care is about that contrast therapy or taking time out for yourself. And we saw a bit of that, especially in Melbourne coming, with COVID, people get moving out of the city, your grey nomads traveling and doing all that sort of stuff. So like we were saying before, it's about, fingers crossed, but there is a trend that we're starting to see in particular of people coming back to the basics and wanting to understand more about how they can support themselves in a natural way, and then just getting back into, nature.
But don't you think, Melanie, that lockdown, like COVID, but lockdowns especially, were the catalyst for this, where everyone stopped and we were like, It was terrible in some respect that people lost businesses, but for those like myself, I was working an office job at the time. I had just never stopped, and to be able to just be at home and rest and reconnect and make your own food, it made me question my life and think, well, I would much prefer to stop and breathe and enjoy my days like this. And I think a lot of people that I see around me, that was the catalyst for them to make some changes, subtle changes in their life. Do you find
Definitely,
that?
because I feel like we all just get caught up in the grind.
You do.
Being able, the flexibility to be able to work from home.
Mm,
Um,
mm.
Now, I think it's really important for community, for people to actually go to work. And I feel like that's one of the things
I'm
my,
pro hybrid.
yeah, I agree. And I think that's one
Mm.
of the things my daughter missed out when she started uni is it was all online. And it's just
Yeah,
like, that's
I
not what
feel
uni's
sorry for the
about.
youth because these are pivotal years and they were
Uni's
missing
about
that
O week and
connection.
meeting people and, all that sort of stuff. I find
It's
we
important.
can all just get enclosed in that box of, the 9 to 5 grind and this is what it is. So I think COVID definitely exposed us to that. And also, you look back now and go, like in Melbourne, we were locked down forever. It was horrible. What
Forever.
did we, what did we do for 2 years? Like, what did
Yeah.
we
Did you
actually
not learn
do?
a language? Did you not pick up an instrument?
My son, I can tell you, had lived his best teenage young boy life riding a bike for 2 years, basically. Mum, I've done school. I'm off now. All right, buddy, go and enjoy life.
Yeah.
We won't go down the flow-on effect of that, but
Mm.
yeah, people are definitely more aware, and we see that with our recovery spaces that people are coming in and having conversations about this is what I want, or I'm sick of this, or my work's really busy, or so I feel like that trend is coming back. And even I'm seeing that with
Agree.
my daughter in particular, who's at 20 now and noticing that she spends so much time on her phone. So I think as maturity comes as well, people are going to be more like, oh, you know what? I'm actually sick of that.
It doesn't
I
make
don't
me
want.
feel good. And again, tapping back into how does it make you feel? And I can guarantee you, I don't feel good when I've sat on my phone for a while. And it's a
Yeah.
necessary evil where you need it to promote your business, but I don't feel good when I'm on it. So I try and really have, flight mode, phone
Yeah,
down time.
mine's on do not disturb pretty more the whole
Yeah.
time, which is
Every woman
annoying
I know
because then
has it on Do
people
Not
try to
Disturb.
ring me. But then I've
I
got to
know
go,
mine.
oh God,
Yeah, I know, but you have to have boundaries to save yourself. It's
Yeah,
very
definitely,
important.
definitely. So I think that, and I think definitely getting out and amongst nature. So, and my kids again, I use them as an example because, my son loves going camping with his friends, and I feel like that's more of a thing that's coming out as well. So just,
Beautiful.
getting out and amongst it and letting what we've been provided with be our nurturer.
Perfect. Love it. In that respect, what's something you'll be doing in the next week to fill up your cup?
Probably a little red light therapy and maybe some
Oh, I
contrast
like
as well. Definitely now that the weather's getting better in Melbourne, I'm a beach person. Whether I'm going for a swim or sitting on the beach reading, walking. I walk every day, my beautiful dog. I like walking is my thing as well. So again, outdoors, it's my jam. This weekend though, I'm really excited. We're running a pink Pilates class for breast cancer. So we've got
great.
350 participants doing a pink Pilates with their little silent disco headphones on.
Well, that's fantastic. Where is
Yeah,
this located at?
it's in Moorabbin, so it's where our Moorabbin studio is. So that's really
Great.
exciting that we've got had such a great response from it. So that'll be a huge day for us on Sunday. But again, outdoors, community,
Love
all the
it.
things that just fill your bucket.
You are so speaking my language with everything you said. I'm very much a nature girl, love my long walks, but I agree with the beach. I don't necessarily have to swim, even just sitting with my feet in the sand and reading. I just
Yeah.
feel like I'm at the beach. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
fantastic.
yeah, I agree. And I set myself a goal after can only read when I'm on holidays, otherwise it makes me fall asleep. And
Yeah.
so wanting to get back into reading, I was like, right, I need to go to the beach once a week with my book, sit down and
Yeah.
read, whether it's hot enough to swim or not. It's just
Yeah.
that.
I love a good
Is
afternoon read. I agree with you. When I read at night, it's 2 pages and then I'm
I've
out.
got reading, I call it reading narcolepsy. As soon as I start reading, which is great
But it's
because it just
something,
shows that
but
I've got
there's
great sleep skills. But
yeah, but there's some stuff. What was the percentage? It's something like 6 minutes of reading can improve your sleep by 68%. And I totally agree with that. It just calms your
completely.
mind. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it's because a lot of people's issue with sleep is their thoughts of
Yeah,
everything else. So
exactly.
you're just focusing on this one
One
thing,
thing
your
rather than
brain is
lots of
allowed to
screens.
switch
Yeah.
off. And I
Love
tend to
it.
find that I read the same page 5 times over the course of a week, and then I give
Same.
up. But
Same. Oh, so great. Well, you enjoy your weekend. It sounds like you're very good at regularly filling up your cup. I love it. And you've really
it's
opened
a
my eyes. It's
balance.
been really, really good education. I'll check out some of your teas as well. And we'll have all your links in our show notes for all the listeners to check
Well,
out. So
thanks so
thanks so
much for
much for
having
spending your
me.
time. No, it's been fantastic. And everyone, I hope you got a lot out of this. And please do something in the next week to fill up your cup.